Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to do a ride-along video. I've done one in the past. It's on my channel, but it's been a little while. So I figured I'd show everybody what it's like to drive around a now 1400 horsepower, 7-second TH400 Corvette. And so I'll go over the meat and potatoes of the car for people who are just joining the channel. But before I forget, I'm located in Texas. It's a little warm outside, nothing crazy, but it is about 84, 85 degrees outside. And so I'll be driving around for a little while. I'm going to do some city driving. I'll do some highway driving. I'll get on the trans brake. I will try to make a few little hits here and there and just really show you guys what it's like to drive a TH400 car. It's something I searched around for a long time, just trying to find video of it, trying to see what it's like, trying to determine if it was really something I wanted to switch from the 6-speed. But I did it 5 years ago. I haven't looked back. And thank you to all the customers out there who are running the setup, having fun with it. I think it's a blast, and this car wouldn't be what it is today without the TH400. And so I'm gonna turn the camera around just so you guys can take a look and just kind of go over some of the, like I said, some of the basic setup of the car. So here we go. So my car is a 2002 C5Z06. I've had it for 20 years. It had the LS6 in it, bone stock, when I got it. And just to talk to you about what is in here right now, this is a Gen 4 5.3 built by DB Rods. It has Y-scope pistons, Cali Ultra Billet rods, stock crank, half-inch head studs, and stock heads. Precision Pro Mod Gen 2 8891. And it runs on E85, and I mean that's pretty much the motor setup. Johnson lifters, cam motion cam. I'll go over it again when we start driving here in a minute, but that's the main engine combo. Transmission setup. My TH400, my transmissions all come from FTI Performance. So this is the level 5 TH400. I'm using a PPP manual shifter. I really enjoy shifting it manually. I do want to get into getting something that is like an M&M shifter that can do air or electronic. But I mean, I've had this for 5 years and I love it. It's a lot of fun. But going back, it's a FTI TH400 level 5 stock ratio, and then the differential is a C6 manual base differential, and I'm running a 315 ring and pinion. So that'll kind of give you some insight, so you can kind of get an idea on where my mile an hour and RPMs are and stuff like that when I'm driving. So while I drive, I'll kind of go over temperatures. I'll go over the temperatures. I'll go over how fast I'm going, RPMs. You might not be able to see it from the camera, but I'll shout it out so you can kind of get an idea on what it's like while I'm cruising along. So here we go. All right, here we go. First thing we got to do, turn the air conditioner on. Much better. So one of the biggest comments I get when I ask people what you want me to make a YouTube video about is, normally people ask me to make a video about how the car drives. And like I said, I did one a long time ago. It's probably been a little bit over a year, but I did one a while back, and the video did really well. And I really like that video because it's one of the only videos out there that show a TH400 Corvette driving on a street. And for some reason, there's still a lot of confusion on whether or not you can drive a transmission like this on the street. And so, like I said, I live in South Texas. It's hot. It gets really hot, especially in the summer months. Right now we're getting into April, and it's getting into the 90s. But come summertime, and it'll be 100 degrees at night. And I have a really big trans cooler on the car. I'm not sure if you've seen on Instagram or Facebook, but I have a pretty extensive cooling setup up front with my radiator and with my AC condenser, my oil cooler, and so I got all those ideas from my RX-7. I had a FD RX-7 back in the early 2000s, and to keep those things cool, they would lay the radiators and the intercoolers down. And so my intercooler is a 6-inch bell core, and I always wanted air to air. I don't like having water slushing around, sweating behind me. I never liked any of that stuff. Obviously, it works really good at the racetrack, but a really good air-to-air works damn good. So always had air-to-air on the car, but you know, with AC and everything, I was starting to have issues trying to keep the car cool, especially when it started getting really, really hot outside. And so what I did was I copied my RX-7 setup. I laid down the radiator at a 45. I put the intercooler flat, and then I have ducting that directs the air up into the intercooler, and it works great. My IATs are usually ambient. They're pretty much ambient almost all the time, and even on a dyno pool, it maybe gets up 10 to 20 degrees max above ambient. And roll racing or on a drag racing pass, man, the intake temperatures are still great, and so it's worked really good. So yeah. And then on this side, on the passenger side of the car, I have my AC condenser. So I'll have AC condenser on that side. This front bumper, I have an oil cooler. I want to say it's a 30 row. It might be a little bit bigger than a 30 row. I've had it on there for a long time, but I have an oil cooler there with a fan right behind the brake ducting, and then same thing from AC condenser. It's right behind the brake ducting, and so that does a good job with everything. Right now, my coolant temps are 180, and I got the air conditioning on. I'm cruising. I'm in third gear, as you can see, going like 30 miles an hour, 35. So I'm just cruising. And then out back, I have behind my driver tire, I have a really big fluid, I think it's a Fluidine trophy truck oil cooler, or trans cooler I should say, that I got off of Summit, and a little expensive, but man, that thing holds almost 3 quarts, and that thing works wonders. That is really what has a spout fan on it. That's really what keeps my trans so cool. And I love having that thing on here because that's what's allowed me to drive this car all the time without any issues, no matter how hot it gets. And so this thing's a pleasure to drive, city driving. I have a lot of fun driving it around the city. First, second, and third. And so right now I have trans temperature right here, 138 degrees. And I drove about 20 minutes down to 20 to 30 minutes down to where I'm at already. So the car's not cold by any means. And my oil temperature is also 180. It usually follows coolant temp. And so when I first put this transmission in the car, I was doing a lot of roll racing. And if you follow the car for a long time, that's pretty much all I did in the I guess mid 2000s, 2010 era. The old racing channel 1320 videos, DVDs and stuff like that would come out. My car's in a lot of those videos with the 6-speed. At that time, I had an LS3 and I had the 6-speed in the car, monster clutch. They were a great sponsor, a great help for me, Steve, back in those early days when we were trying to find alternatives to the RPS, because I had an RPS triple, and some of those clutches were hit or miss, and you're talking 3,000 back then. I want to say an RPS clutch. I don't know what they are today, but they're like $3,500 back in 2012, 2013, and I don't know about you, $3,500 or $3,000 for a clutch is a lot of money. But But I mean, at the time there weren't really a lot of triples, and so I had several monster clutches. I experimented with several different ones as Steve was coming out with them, and the clutches did great. The clutches didn't break, the transmission did. And so I had a T56 at that time, and man, I went through 5 of those breaking, basically breaking the gear set. You know, I'd break third gear all the time, drove me nuts. And you know, that's one of the things about even a TR6060. They're a little bit stronger, but they're not straight cut gears, and they're not billet gears. And you know, I got to a point where you know, I was like, man, driving on the street, great fun. Road racing is great fun, but you know, I wanted to get into doing something else. I wanted to start doing a little bit of drag racing. So here you go. Let me get on the highway here. And so after that, you know, I talked to Tick, G-Force, and you know, I just found out how much money it was for those transmissions, and how much money, because at the time Grubhorn was just starting to really push them. But as you're aware, you know, you can't put a T56 Magnum in a Corvette in a transaxle setup. So the alternative was to, you know, bite the bullet, buy a billet gear set, and just pray to God that it doesn't break. And I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So 5 years ago, I got this conversion, and it needed a little bit of work. It needed some revising, and I revised it over the years, made it better, and to what it is today. And you know, partnering with FTI has been a huge help. Getting converters, getting different levels of transmissions and different more specific transmission setups for customers, and that's been a big help. But going back to what's in here right now, you know, I'm on the highway cruising. I'm going 70 miles an hour, and again, I run a 315. And so I chose the 315 because I knew I was going to do a lot of highway driving, and I love driving this car on the highway. It's a lot of fun, and shit, this is it's a road race car. You know, at the time it was a road race car, and now, you know, I've kind of transitioned it more into being a drag racing car. But having a nice diff ratio in it has really helped. You can run the 342, and I know almost all the glide cars run the 342, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But you're gonna cruise a little bit higher on the highway. Turn the AC. You're gonna cruise a little bit higher RPM on the highway, but it definitely gets the job done. So if you have a good cooler on the car, you have a good trans cooler on the car, and your cooling system on the motor is good, you have a nice engine oil cooler as well, you won't have any problems. It'll work just fine. So I went back and forth between the 342 and the 315. The trans does have the stock ratios in it. So first gear's at 248, and you know, 248, 315, and a 28-inch tall tire. The starting line ratio is not that bad. I've cut dozens of 1/260 foots without any issues. So I think it's pretty good. Now, of course, if you're making a little bit less power, then you would need to maybe consider sticking with a 342 so that you don't take all the gear out of the car. You know, so just something to think about. You know, whenever you go to do it. But I mean, I'm going 70 miles an hour. Now let's check it out. Trans is at 140. I've had the AC on the whole time. Coolant temp is 190. Let's see what the engine oil is. Engine oil 192. So it's pretty much, it's still fine. And I'm going to drive on the highway now for a little bit, and I'm going to lean into it here in a second. So boost control. So this car's on a factory computer, and car to make it do what it does. So Cortex is my boost controller. That's what I have right here. That does everything. Boost by gear, boost by speed. It can do boost by RPM. It's my nitrous control. I can turn the nitrous on and off by speed, by boost, by AFR, by whatever I want. It's got overboost, fail-safe, link condition fail-safe. It'll do a nitrous link condition fail-safe. I mean, it's got a lot built into it. And so that's pretty much my standalone, is my Cortex boost controller. That thing can do a lot. And so that's what I use to control boost control and nitrous control. I haven't been using nitrous that much. I sent the converter back to FTI and we got it doing pretty good right now. So I haven't been using nitrous a lot. The last time at the track, when I did the 8th mile, I used a 50 shot for a small window. The 50 shot turned on at 1 pound, turned off at 8 pounds, and then I was on the trans brake. At like 10 pounds with no nitrous, and I had a soft tune-up in it, and the car went 530. So I've gotten to where I don't need the nitrous much anymore. But anyhow, it does control the nitrous. So Cortex boost controller, gray boost controller. Check it out. Look it up. It can also do trans brake. It can also do bump, but before I found that out, I had already added a smooth stage bump box. So I have a smooth stage that controls my bump, and I have my bump right here on my steering wheel. I don't know if you can see it, but I don't have it connected right now, but it's right here. Of course, trans brake I have right here, and this transmission does not have a clean neutral in it. It's just a traditional reverse pattern. All right, I'm gonna slow down, make a little head here. So let's see. So now shift to the second. Never gets old. That was made 19 pounds up top when I went into high gear. Anyhow, yeah, so I didn't know that the Cortex could do so many things. I actually learned it over time, and I've had it for a very long time. And so it could, at the time I had a separate, I think I had a nitrous outlet, nitrous controller on here, but I took that off. And so I have a bump box, smooth stage bump box. It can do 2-step, but I didn't hook it up for 2-step. I have a watt box to do 2-step, and so I have a watt box. I have a Cortex boost controller, and I have a smooth stage, and that is what's controlling everything. That is what's allowing this car to do what it does. And so it took a little while to iron it all out, but in all honesty, if I had to go back and do it again, I mean, it'd be a piece of cake. Also, this car was done in stages. When I first put the trans in, I had an LS3 in it, and the previous transmission builder, it was not MTI. I don't even know the name, but I bought the transmission used, and it wasn't set up right, and it knocked the thrust bearings out. And so I sent the trans to MTI, and they completely redid it. And ever since then, I've been good. So when I lost my LS3 because of the thrust bearings, I went ahead and did a 5.3. And I didn't want to put a really nice motor in it yet, so I was like, you know what? Let me do a 5.3, stock bottom end. I told my buddy John, I was like, I actually bought 2 motors, 2 aluminum blocks. I was like, let's just do a stock bottom setup, have fun with it. I don't want to risk hurting another engine if the transmission isn't right. And RPMs have dropped. And so normally what I do when I'm exiting is I'll downshift. I'm in second now. The RPMs are just going to continue to idle until I touch the gas pedal. All right. So I just keep idling it. So now I'm good. I'll go to third and get back on the gas. So in that aspect, it's very similar to having a stick. When the RPMs come down with this type of a transmission. And so a downshift, second, downshift, first. You don't hear any revving or anything like that because of the way the transmission is set up. And so now I'm at a stoplight and boom, first gear. And shoot, sometimes when I'm lazy, so I'm stopped, shit, I'll take off in second gear. Sometimes I take off in third gear because, I mean, the car, it can just go. And I got a little baby motor. But anyhow, so yeah, I didn't want to hurt anything with this when I was first putting it back together. But man, I don't know if y'all seen the videos, Instagram, YouTube, but when I did that stock 5.3, the stock bottom end, oh man, this car kicked ass. I mean, it was fast. I think I ran an 8. I want to say my best pass was an 830 or 840 at like 166 or 167, something like that. And that was a stock bottom end. So I was super happy with that. And then after that, I told my buddy, I was like, you know what? Now let's build a not an end-all be-all motor, but the motor that's in here right now. And basically, it's a like I said, it's a Gen 453 aluminum half-inch head studs. I don't even have aftermarket heads on here. The car's fast enough for me. But I'm in third, by the way. You can probably see it. I'm just calling it out as I get on the highway. I'll go 30 miles an hour when I put it in third, and now I'm speeding up. But yeah, the car was really fast with the stock bottom, so I knew that when we put the built motor in here, the car was going to be pretty quick. But to be honest, I never in a million years thought this car would be a 7-second car because I haven't taken any weight out of it. And as you can see, I've owned this car 20 years. Everything that is in here is everything that I bought the car with. I mean, it's all original. I haven't taken anything out. I think the only weight savings I have is maybe these seats, and they're not that light. And what else? With strange brakes. That's probably about it. But anyhow, so yeah, so when we put this built motor in here, man, I want to talk about a game changer. And so I think it's been doing great ever since. And so as the car sits currently, it made 1350 at like 30 pounds, and which is the most it's ever made. And I had to go back and redo my fuel system because the car was running out of fuel pressure. So I went back and redid some stuff and went out, and that's when I ran those 2 7s that are on a couple of videos ago. And the car ran 2 5.0s in the 8th mile at 140 plus. So I want to say 141, 142. And again, never in a million years did I think the car could do that. That's really fast. And I want to say 60 to 130 was a 2.8 or 2.7, 2.8. And same thing for the 100 to 150, it was a 2 something. 2.8, I want to say. 2.8 or a 2.79, something like that. And, that's plenty fast, What I want to do next is get a roll cage in this thing as soon as possible. I actually don't even want to do any more quarter-mile racing until I get a roll cage. And I'm kind of transition everything into doing I just want to do 8th mile stuff, and I've kind of completely stopped doing a lot of the street stuff. So sorry if you like watching the car doing street stuff. It's dangerous, the car's fast, and getting older, want to be here for a long time. So real quick, I'm going 70 miles an hour. My RPMs are at 2,500. We've been driving for a little while. I made a hit coming this way. Coolant temp is 196. Oil temp, it's 200. It'll cool down. The most important temp, transmission temp, 156. thing up to 180. It could be 100 degrees outside, and that's probably when it'll finally hit 180. But if I'm just cruising along like this, it'll stay in the 150s, 160s forever. And that's something that I was really worried about, because when I had first put the setup on, the transmission in, I was doing a lot of road racing. And you know how road racing goes. It may take 2-3 times before you get a good hit. And I didn't want to get into a situation where I would make a hit and the transmission would be hot, and I had to be that guy saying, oh, wait, everybody, I gotta wait. Hell no. I can make a hit over and over, and the trans will be cold. It very rarely gets hot. Even on a quarter-mile pass, burnout, back up, trans brake, bump in, full quarter-mile pass, transmission might be at 185 by the time I'm done. Like it doesn't get that hot. I pass that guy up. One thing I want to do more with this car is really just little 8th mile stuff and just have fun with it, you know. As everybody knows, you know, this stuff's not getting any cheaper, and you know, I enjoy quarter-mile racing, but you know, running this car out the back at 180 miles an hour over and over, it's fun, but it's not something I want to do all the time. Maybe once or a couple times a year I'll take it, but mainly I want to do 8-mile stuff. Alright, so let's make another hit. Slow down real quick. 0.70. And people are going to be pissed at me, but oh well. Just something light. Probably won't go that fast. Let's see if I got some room. A little bit, but I'm going to speed up. I'm going to have to block somebody. I always let go of the gas. Alright, downshift. Here we go. Now lean back into it. There we go. Now I'm just going to lean into it. It never gets old. Never gets old. So now, going back to the trans and how it drives and everything. I hope some of the information that I've provided you guys with has been helpful. You know, the differential. It's a C6 diff. You do have to use a C6 differential. I know there's setups out there, TH400 setups out there with a C5 diff. I do not do those. I don't do those because you have to cut the tunnel back here. I love C5s to death, but the single mounted C5 diff is, I mean, it just sucks. It's not as strong. It's not as strong as the C6 setup is, and so it's not something that I would recommend doing. And so every diff I use is a C6 diff. I prefer the base diff because there's more ring and pinion options, but I can use a Z06, C6 Z06, and can use a C6 ZR1 diff. Just message me for details on all of that. It is possible to do that. So let's see here. Let's do one more. Got a little bit of room here. Ideally, I like the manual diff. You can put a wave track in a manual diff. You can put 300M, 500M stub shafts in a manual diff, just like you can for a C6 Z06 diff and a C6 ZR1. You can put C601 stub shafts and a C6 manual base diff. So, you know, I work with a lot of people out there in the country that help me with all these different things, differentials and stuff like that. So, I don't know it all. I know a lot, but I don't know it all. But one thing I do know is I know it works. And this works. So, yeah, but anyhow, so I hope the information has been helpful. You know, a lot of people worry about, can I drive on the highway? Can I do this? Can I do that? Hell yeah, you can. But just like anything, you have to address everything. You know, you gotta have a good cooling system. Hell, ZR1s and blower C606s. You guys that are out there who have a blower C606 and have iron blocks or have even C601s, them things run hot as hell. They run a lot hotter than my Turbo 400 car does. And you know, let me exit right here. They run a lot hotter than my Turbo and Turbo 400 car does. And so you know, you gotta address those things. And you know, if your car is running hot stock or running hot with a blower, I mean, that means that, you know, you got things that you need to address anyways, right? I mean, because if that's the case, then yeah, driving on the highway at you know, 2,000 plus RPMs is gonna warm things up, but it's not gonna be warming things up because of the transmission. It's gonna be warming things up just because, you know, the cooling setup isn't efficient. You know, but one thing I will tell you is that, you know, transmission cooler is not something that you want to skimp out on. You know, a lot of the hardcore no prep guys and all those dudes, I mean, they're all about weight and stuff like that. Some of those cars, they don't even run transmission coolers. They use external coolers when they get back to the pits and cool the fluid down externally, unplug it, and boom, send the car again. But like for a street car, you know, for something like this, you got to use a good cooler. You got to really spend some money on a nice cooler. And if you have a good cooler on it, man, you're good, man. You won't have anything to worry about. Your car will run and drive fine. And so I know that was a big misconception for myself. I was like, oh wow, can I drive on the highway? Is the transmission get hot? You know, that was something that a lot of people worry about. That they ask me all the time. And I'm like, no way. You know, but I have a big, huge trans cooler, and I think that's the difference. I will tell you what doesn't work is, you know, again, I live in South Texas, so it gets super hot here. And I tried originally using like a small, I want to say it was like a single 30 row, like a C-trap type of deal, kind of like just your basic little trans cooler. I want to say it was like a C-trap, something small, the regular little 30 row. That did not work for me. It would keep the transmission relatively cool, but it didn't keep it cool enough to be doing like what I just got done doing right now. All right, here we go. So I got a little opening. So while I'm still driving, turn my traction control on. Give you a little trans brake right here. Oh man, there's a car behind me, but it can wait. No nitrous. I shifted early so I wouldn't leave a bunch of marks on this road. It's a nice road. But yeah. So look, the turbo actually spools pretty well for no nitrous. So that's been playing with the converter. You know, like I said, I sent it back, and then I did add a dump valve. I do have an external dump on the trans. I don't have a internal dump, but I have an external dump. And so that did help. But yeah, so yeah, I hope by the way, transmission now, all the driving, the pulls, the last couple of hits I did right there, and trans brake right there, my trans is 180 now. So I hope the information has been helpful. try to do another one of these videos in the not too far future. Coming up, I do have a surprise for everybody who's been following for a long time, and I will be going back to the racetrack. Have another 8th mile event coming up. I will be posting details on that in case you're in the area and you want to come check the car out. It's pretty fun having the only normal street style type of vehicle in these events next to these pretty much drag cars. But I mean, that's what I built the car for, right? I built the car to be a street car. It can run low fives all day without pushing it, and maybe next fall I'll take the car down to when the weather cools off. I'll take the car back to Motorplex, the Texas Motorplex, and try to run that 4-second 8th mile that I've been chasing. That is the last thing that I really want to do with this car. It's one of my goals, and it was never a goal until I realized, like, oh man, I ran a couple of 5.0s. So if this thing can run 5.0s, it definitely has a 490 in it, because I turned the boost down after I got into high gears. But I'll get into that in another video. But thanks again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Thank you for, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for listening to me for half an hour. I hope some of the stuff that I've talked about has been helpful. If you have questions, please comment. You can reach me on Instagram. It's probably the easiest place to reach me. Facebook as well. But like I said, if you have any comments, let me know. Thank you, and I will see you next time.